Good evening, Antoinette. Like, really late evening. It's like 10 p.m. So, I kind of just got over, well, not got over, but I kind of watched some of the latest news and keeping up to date, because I want to be my media. I want to, like, get my own opinion instead of watching the news, reading different articles, and then focusing off that. So I'm kind of trying to watch doing my best to watch firsthand stuff. So I kind of did go through a bunch of articles, ironically, to look at some of Trump's executive orders. Because I can't physically be there, I have to try and watch and read from firsthand events. And yes, there's bias from Washington Post to Fox News to CSNBC, and I'll post the links to 5 or 6 different articles down in the comments that I did read and of what I watched. So anyway, I think that some of Trump's stuff is kind of reasonable. Some of it, not so much. Like, he really wants to promote American jobs, wants to promote the American workforce, in a sense to rejuvenate the economy. I think that's a great thing. I think that, yes, he can accomplish that, but through what means? He signed executive orders for the Keystone Pipeline and the Dakota Access Pipeline.
The construction of the Keystone Pipeline, something that's been in dispute, and it's subject to a renegotiation of terms by us. This is with respect to the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline. Dakota Access Pipeline. Again, subject to terms and conditions to be negotiated by us.
Expediting the the process to where there's less regulations, there's less stuff to put into place to keep the environment safe, to stop the damage that could be caused by a pipeline burst or something, because that's what they're there for. This
is about streamlining the incredibly cumbersome, long, horrible permitting process and reducing regulatory burdens for domestic manufacturing. Many of the people that we've been meeting with over the last long period of time, but yesterday and others, the process is so long and cumbersome that they give up before the end. Sometimes it takes many, many years, and we don't want that to happen. And if it's a no, we'll give them a quick no. And if it's a yes, it's like, let's start building. The regulatory process in this country has become a tangled up mess and very unfair to people.
The regulations are there to protect the environment and to protect the community overall. And I think by expediting the process to like save infrastructure, it's good intentions, I feel, but bad process, because he says yes, we can't wait 15 years if we're having highways and roads and bridges fall apart.
Expediting of environmental reviews and approvals for high priority infrastructure projects. We intend to fix our country, our bridges, our roadways. We can't be in an environmental process for 15 years if a bridge is going to be falling down or if a highway is crumbling. So we're expediting environmental reviews and approvals. That's what this is.
We can't just throw all care to the wind about the environment, because without the environment, we wouldn't have a lot of the things we have. We wouldn't have our food. We wouldn't have our waterways. We wouldn't have anything. So to expedite the process, to limit the regulations, you're going to damage the economy more than you're going to help it. So that is definitely one negative thing. So yes, I agree that maybe the pipeline, we might need the pipeline, because we're not anywhere close to weaning ourselves off of natural gas, oil, and other resources such as that. So we need to try and work our way towards more environmentally friendly stuff, more solar, wind, hydroelectric, thermal, whatever, because we need that. So if you look at it, like the environmental regulations aren't there to necessarily hinder the production of roadways, of companies, of oil lines, of whatever. They're there to limit the damage that they could do to the environment. Are some over the top? Possibly. But they're there for a reason. They're not there to be like, "Hi, we want to destroy you." And that's how I feel like a lot of Americans view it, especially those who work in that industry. But that's a topic for another day. Things are going to go through. One thing I did like with Trump is saying we should have like that. If it's going to be built in America, we should make it in America.
Of pipelines in this country, we are, and I am, very insistent that if we're going to build pipelines in the United States, the pipes should be made in the United States. So unless there's difficulty with that, because companies are going to have to sort of gear up, much pipeline is bought from other countries. From now on, we're going to start making pipeline in the United States. We build it in the United States. We build the pipelines. We want to build the pipe. Got to put a lot of workers, a lot of skilled workers back to work.
America. We should employ Americans to make the pipeline, to actually make the pipes, put the pipes in, and so on and so forth. Whether or not it's going to create 28,000 jobs, highly improbable. Closer estimations, I've also seen closer to 4,000, give or take. One thing I kind of agree with to an extent is the anti-abortion executive order, because he's stated that he's pro-life in the sense, and I agree that I'm pro-life in the sense that like all human life matters, all life itself matters. We should be there. We should try and protect life to the best of our abilities, and it's not yet. Yes, it technically is the woman's body that is being affected, but it's not just hers. After a certain stage of development, that the cells are not just a clump of cells. They're a human. They're a living being. You should give them the best possible chance. And like in certain cases like rape, incest, medical statutes, or something along those lines, yes, an abortion is reasonable. But just because you don't want a kid, you don't believe you can afford a kid, you should make the effort to help them, whether it be family. There's definitely like a federal aid like WIC or Medicare, Medicaid, and to an extent, previously Obamacare did a little bit to this. That's another executive order he did. Is like with Obamacare, like it helped certain people, and the people that it helped tremendously. But to those who didn't, it cost them a lot. It was a lot of. It was hard on those who didn't need Obamacare, but to those who did need Obamacare, it was life saving. It helped them get through a hard time in their life. So there's good things about it. There's bad things about it. That's pretty much with anything. So I think we need to keep some aspects of Obamacare where they are that help the people that need it most, but maybe not like damage those who don't need it, who don't absolutely need to partake in Obamacare, like those without, like me, who are pretty much a normal functioning person, where unless you have, like, people who do need it are like those with autoimmune disorders, those who basically can't afford their medication, their treatment, and whatnot. And Obamacare helped with that. And this is just going to be an interesting transition. This is going to be interesting to see what he does in the future. I believe he can surprise us again and again. But is he going to be good? That's a different question for another story. I have my hopes high and whatnot. Some of what he's doing is kind of reinforcing why I didn't vote for him. Some of what he's out doing is making me rethink maybe he has a possibility. Not every president makes the best decisions. We have evidence for that. One of them even got impeached. And we need to keep the discussion going. We need to keep talking. We need to have civil discussion. We don't need a riot. We don't need to be SJWs in PC culture. We need to have this open, broad discussion because that's how we move. That's how we progress. If we don't have that discussion because someone's afraid to offend somebody, then we're not going to get anywhere. And that's one thing that a lot of people liked Trump for, was he wasn't afraid to offend somebody. He speaks his mind, or tweets it. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see the next 4 years. And I'm just rambling at this point. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you watched the whole video, thank you again. And might be doing more political videos in the future. This is kind of going to be an interesting thing. It's going to hopefully help my public speaking out and talking, and I want the discussion to continue in the comments. I want the discussion to continue. So feel free to look in the links down below and definitely do research on your own. Just don't believe everything you see from one source. Don't believe everything you see from Facebook. So definitely that. Links are in the description there. You can watch more political videos there. You can subscribe to my channel there. And here's a video you may or may not like. Thank you guys again.